Hello and good evening. Welcome to the 15th day. We're just about halfway done with 2025's Character Creation Challenge, as created by TARDIS Captain of RPG.net. He's got a pretty cool blog. He also runs a fantastic Discord server. So, if you get a chance, give him a look and show some support. So today we are looking at Star Trek Captain's Log from Modiphius. It's a Star Trek Adventures game, but Captain's Log is a standalone book. You can play it without requiring either the first or second edition Star Trek Adventures core rulebook or the Klingon core rulebook, because they've got one of those too, and it's pretty fantastic. A little bit of background. I actually did get to write part of this book, and I'm super psyched about it. There's a bit in one of the tables about a nebula actually having coffee plants growing in it. Well, that bit was me, and I'm pretty proud of the joke. Star Trek Adventures is a pretty cool game line, and it was one of my favorite professional writing experiences ever. Lifelong dream to be able to work on Star Trek, and the team with Mike Johnson, and also our head writer Michael Desmuke. I did it. Jim Johnson. I conflated two awesome men into one super being, but the world couldn't handle anything as cool as a combination of Jim and Mike. Anyways, they're right here. That's them, way up here. My contribution is way down here. It was minimal to this title, but it was great to work on. Good team. And Captain's Log is a solo game. It's designed for solo play first, which is fantastic. It's got a setting primer, which I also like. Fantastic artwork. And so we're going to make a character for this game. I don't have a concept in mind, and that's fine, because I like to do it kind of as inspiration strikes, and inspiration hasn't struck me yet. Just really fantastic and evocative art, though. And some really good, I would say, very good advice on formatting your stories and kind of dramatic license. You don't find that kind of thing in a lot of solo RPG tools. Most of it is just mechanical, without any thought given to the story. This isn't a journaling game, but if you were to use it to write out your game sessions as stories, you would have the foundation of a very good story with which to work. There's multiple types of campaigns that you can support, from your regular procedural, sexy Star Trek ships. No one has better looking ships than Star Trek. And I say that as someone who's a lifelong fan of many sci-fi franchises. So, reporting for duty. Now that we got a cool look at some of the artwork. Creating a character. It's a life pack character creation system, which, if you're not familiar, probably the most famous life path character creation system is Traveller, which is also a science fiction game. But what you do is create your character in stages of their life. Sometimes it's from birth, sometimes it's from early adulthood. But there are several discrete stages where you kind of define what happened to your character. And when you come out of it, you know them as a person because of this. So choose this option if you wish to start your story with concrete knowledge of your character's backstory, beliefs, and capabilities, or create it in play. That's nice too. I kind of think it's a great idea to make one character you want to focus on, maybe a couple, using the life path, and then just kind of sketch up a little bit of what you need for the rest of the supporting cast. Star Trek Adventures supports kind of a troop play where you're encouraged, in fact, to control multiple characters for different scenes on an away team, up on the ship. it's all fantastic stuff, but we're going to do life path. Sure. Traits, attributes, disciplines, focuses, and values. A standard character has at least a single trait, their species. Okay? 6 attributes. Control, daring, fitness, insight, presence, and reason. And we're going to write these down now. Captain's log, dude. Control, daring, fitness, reason. I always get myself lost. Which, by the way, I want to point something out and let you all know. If anyone happens to be in chat, haha, I know. We don't often have live viewers because of the time I stream and such. But if anyone does happen to be in chat, after we make this character, we're going to have a bonus round where we make a ship using the Utopia Planitia source book. Really fun. Really fun. And if you're in chat, you guys can tell me which class of ship from Starfleet that we're going to make. So, insight, presence. That's right. Also, before this book, I actually kind of came in at the very end of the development cycle for the first book, the very first core book, just to do some lore bits for them, and that was also a lot of fun. Got to work on a few other projects, and it is a time I treasure. So this is a bit about what the attributes do, and for each one explained kind of what your capabilities would be at different values, and I appreciate that. Disciplines, so this might need a little bit of explanation. What we have here, these attributes, these are what you'd call statistics, you know. In D&D, it's strength, dexterity, constitution, intellect, wisdom, and charisma. Here, they don't quite align in the same way. For instance, presence could be charisma, but reason could also be charisma. Reason could be intelligence, but also wisdom. Insight, probably more of a wisdom. But it just kind of depends on what you're doing. Control could be constitution mentally, but also many other things. Fitness could be a constitution physically, but also strength. Daring could be a mental or a physical attribute. They're pretty abstract, but once you get the play down, you understand what they are. Here, the disciplines are what you would probably call skills in a lot of other systems, but they're right here. We've got command, con. So they're named partially after the divisions or parts of the divisions of Starfleet. And essentially, any duty performed by like a commander that you see on screen, you're going to roll with command. The con, which is like flying the ship, anything you do that, you're going to use your con discipline. What an engineer would do. What do? They reroute power. They fix things. They jury-rig things. You'd roll engineering. What does a security guard do? Usually they get knocked out by the alien of the week. But basically, that's fighting. Science handles sciencey things. Can be some computer things too. And medicine handles medical things. So, it might seem a little idiosyncratic off the bat, but I find that it works pretty well. So, some usage examples, which are always nice. And focuses, which are parts of your disciplines. They're more like specific skills in which, because disciplines are very broad, where you drill down and you get specific bonuses for having a focus. For instance, you know, here are a bunch of command focuses. 2d20, so 38 in total, or 39 for each one. And they have a nice random table, so that way if you're stuck, you can ask yourself, well, what would my person have? And then values are like a value statement. And this is gold right here. A D20 table for rolling values. So, now, with that out of the way of how things are, we're going to create. Starting points. All characters begin with a score 7 for each attribute and 1 for each discipline. Oh, I have the number lock off there. 7, 7, 7, 7. And I'm not hitting down because my down button got pried off my keyboard. I'm overeager daughter playing her games or something. And that's okay. I don't need a down arrow. Not right now. Okay. So we've got this. A finished starting character cannot have more than 12 in any attribute and may only have one attribute at 12. Cannot have more than 5 in any discipline and may only have one discipline with a score of 5. This is because they've got a really cool way of doing things, and I feel like it was based originally or inspired by the FOSSA Star Trek RPG, the 80s, because they did something similar. But you add your attribute that you're using for the roll to the discipline you're using to the roll. You roll 2d20, that's why this is called the 2d20 system, and you want to roll under it. For each die you roll under that number, you get a success. And you can add multiple die rolls to the test through different means. So having, let's say, daring of 12 and security of 5 means that anytime you're shooting a phaser at an alien, you're going to be wanting to roll under 17. Each die has an 85% chance of, equal to or under, has like an 85% chance of succeeding. And then also too, if you had the specialty for phasers, you would have a 20% chance of also getting like bonuses to it for each die. And since you can roll up to 5 dice, it adds up. So your characters, you'll find they're pretty competent in things. And this bit here is not restrictive at all. So step 1, species. Choose or randomly determine your character species from the matrices on page 93 and 94, which are going to be coming up here. Here's a flowchart. We'll probably reference this later. But I love me some random character creation, so we're going to roll first for the era in which our show takes place. For your roll history, that was probably from last night's stream. 1, which is Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton. Oh, Enterprise era. That didn't have Will Wheaton at all. So Enterprise era. The army of nerds working for Modiphius have done the hard work for us, and I mean I was one of them, but everything's researched so that you know when various starships entered service, because people are nitpicky about timelines and canon in Star Trek. We know this, and it kind of helps to organize things. So we're gonna roll on these aliens here. And the cool thing about Captain's Log is that it is not restricted to Starfleet Federation species, as you will see. For instance, Xindi Primate. So, if you watch Enterprise, the Xindi begin as an antagonist to Earth. So, a Xindi Primate. There's 5 Xindi species, and they've each got kind of a different biological niche. Pardon me, but I have a dog trying to kiss me as well. Blah. So, let's go here. All these cool little entries. Xindi Primate. With a similar physiology to humans, primates share their characteristic internal organ structure and metabolism, as well as their sensory perceptions. Their facial structure is markedly different, however, with pronounced foreheads and ridged cheekbones, like other Xindi species. Amongst other Xindi, primates have a reputation for fairness and honesty. Many people believe Xindis have come to regard Xindi primates as trustworthy and decent. So we get +1 fitness, +1 insight, +1 presence. Fitness, 8. Insight. Look at that. Just down the middle here. And presence 8. Okay. Step 2, environment. Regardless of their species, Starfleet officers, well, these aren't going to be Starfleet officers. Unless, actually, that's a 40-year thing. Well, let's say that these guys come from 2199. That's when we're going to set it. If we want, like, the first Zendian Starfleet. Because they do eventually join the Federation. Step 2, environment. So, many worlds. While many humans are born on Earth, many more were born on a colonized world elsewhere in the galaxy, on a starbase, or on a starship. Your character's environment grants them a single value, 1 point in a single attribute, and 1 point in a single discipline. So, in choosing your character's environment, you'll start from either its setting, such as a homeworld colony, or its conditions, utopian paradise or world war. So, let's see, do we want... Yeah, let's just do... do we want to go by settings or conditions? Let's just go settings. It's probably more straightforward. 20. Another species world. Okay, so they were not born on Xindi Prime. Your character grew up among another species. Whatever the situation, the character has unique perspectives on their own species and on those they were raised alongside. So think Worf, basically. Value. Your character gains a value which reflects the environment and culture they were raised within. It's common for this value to be informed by the values of other species they were raised alongside, or how they see their own culture in relation to their birthplace. So, attribute. Before we do that, I have, I think, a good way of randomly figuring out whose species. Homeworld. Well, 20, that's not going to work. That's a Xindi again. 2, okay. Andorian. Okay, alright, okay. Raised on Andor. Trait. Yeah. This dude is sitting on my hands. He doesn't want me doing this. I don't know why. Trait Xindi Prime. Values. Let's say something that the Andorians would value too. Raised within. You know? Never back down when friendships. When a friend is in jeopardy. So a nice value there. It'll have a benefit. It kind of guides you into what you're doing, but also it can lead you into a complicated situation, because maybe sometimes it's better for your character if they back down when a friend is in jeopardy, but this would be betraying themselves. So I was just thinking of Shran in Enterprise, you know, how he's gruff, but you know, no, never let a debt go unpaid. There we go. Just because he owed a bunch of favors to Captain Archer. So choose randomly roll another species from step 1, which we did. Then choose one of the attributes that species gains a bonus to. Increase that attribute by 1. So Andorians, I think they get like strength, control, daring, or presence. Yeah. Let's, I guess, just do daring, make it an 8. Discipline, choose any one discipline and increase by 1. Let's say command. Now we have our first discipline. Yay! Step 3. Early outlook. drawing them into education and career. Your character formed an early outlook that shaped them in many ways. You may choose from 3 approaches of how to determine the impact of this outlook. The first is select their upbringing and determine whether they accepted or rebelled against it. The second, only for Klingon, is their caste. The last option is choose an aspiration. I'm going to go upbringing. That's kind of the traditional Star Trek way. Obviously, we're not doing a Klingon, so... Although that would be cool. We should have done a Klingon. Or we should some point. So, upbringing 5. Business or trade? Okay, alright, I can see that. I can see already forming Xindi merchants plying their trade throughout the galaxy, looking for a place they can kind of settle down after some chaos with the sphere builders, and finding shelter in Andoria, of all places. Okay, alright. Yeah, we'll do that. Business or trade. Your character's family may have connections on countless worlds, overseeing and directing some grand business endeavor. They have grown up encountering people from all walks of life, including those from outside the Federation, and their outlook on life has been shaped accordingly. Oh, I guess, or trade. So, attributes. If your character accepted this upbringing, being a cosmopolitan, ambitious lifestyle increases their daring by 1 and their presence by 2. Honestly, yes, I think I would like that for this character. Otherwise, if they hadn't, they would have gotten insight by 2 and reason by 1. So, daring 1, presence 2. Okay, we'll do that. Daring is 9, presence is now 10. Whoa, 19, that'd be something. Okay, so we're going to get... You know, I was not expecting something like a charismatic Xindi primate when I started this, but that's what I'm getting, and I love that about this book. So, aspirations. Okay, step 4, education. So, whatever type of education you got. We can choose focuses, or we can use, there's page 85, probability matrix. So, let's see, where did we go? Possibly even Starfleet Academy by this point, since we grew up in Andoria. That would work. And that's what we got. So, Starfleet Academy. And what track did we take? Command, operations, or sciences. And back at this point, they're still using those Enterprise uniforms. So, command, operations, or sciences. 6, which I think is, yeah, command. Okay. Sorry about that. Sometimes I become Donkey from Shrek. My wife hates it when I do that, and it's nothing I can help. It just comes out. And I will say I was proud of that mouth pop because that actually sounded like Donkey from Shrek. Okay, command track. Your value. Add a value reflecting the beliefs they developed during their time at the Academy. Value. Never let a debt go unpaid. Let's see. We'll do ours with a bunch of nevers. Never... Or no. Lead from the front. Okay. Attributes. Add 3 points to attributes which may be split between any 2 or 3. Okay. Well, he's going to need probably 1 reason and 1 control. Oh, I mean, you know. And then let's do daring, because bold commanders in this time of exploration, you know, Kirk and even before. So disciplines, either increase command or con by 2, then select 2 other disciplines to increase by 1 each. So let's do, well, command 4, and then we can select con for the +1. 2, and 2. Okay. And you also don't need to worry about making your character super powerful. Specialists are just fine, especially considering you have a whole cast of characters on which you can rely. Step 5. Career length. Choose the length of your character's career. Are they a novice with their whole career ahead of them? Are they experienced or a veteran? Let's see. Boopy doopy doop. 6, which is a novice. Alright. Your character is defined by their potential more than by their skill. Their raw talent and their expectations of what the universe is like has not yet been tempered by reality. Oh, I'd love that. So add a value reflecting their inexperience and naivete in some way. It's up to me to fix it all. Because that reminds me of Young Disco Soup. Okay, step 6, career events. So now we get to have 2 career events that define them. These, since we're a novice, one of them probably happened in the academy, and the other one probably happened on our midshipman cruise. So let's see where they're at, because our dude's going to be fresh stepping off. Okay, so first career event, 14, new battle strategy. And so this is in the academy, so it would be like battle simulations. But let's see what we got here. In combat with a hostile force simulation, your character devised a new strategy or tactic. Who was the battle against? Was it in space and the ground? What was the strategy devised? Well, let's see. The only people Federation's fighting right now... You know what? Let's say it was a Romulan simulation. Because, yeah, Federation and Romulans are at each other's throats at this point. So we'll call this the Academy event. That particular war, I know, was fought in ships with no visual contact between humans and Romulans. So this would be a ship-based strategy. Okay. So maybe my guy's itching for a fight. I don't know. Attributes. Your character's creativity under pressure shows boldness and ingenuity, increasing daring by 1, which, let me see, we're getting pretty daring, if I do say so myself. Disciplines increase security by 1. Oops. And focuses. So the focuses, they're the specializations, reflecting their decisive battlefield leadership. Examples include combat tactics, hazard awareness, or leading by example. I think, well, seeing it's up to me to fix it all and leading from the front, I do think command, leading by example. So now, in this case, suppose we're rolling command and daring, we're leading people into battle. We've got a 15 we want to roll equal to or under. If any of those 15 happen to roll 4 or below, that's because we have this, leading by example, and we're leading by example in our example. Then if it's within our skill range, we get bonuses. So, what was our next event? And this would be when we're actually out in space. Well, no, let's not do 14 again. 12. Betrayed ideals for a superior. Ooh. Betrayed ideals for a superior. Your character was placed in a situation where they had to choose between their own ideals or a trusted superior, choosing to follow the superior. I remember when Commander Riker had to do that with Admiral Locke from Lost. So who was the superior? What did they ask your character to do? How did your character feel now? What were the repercussions of this? Are the details of this event on record? Was your character right? Okay, let's see. So let's see. Never let a debt go unpaid. Lead from the front. It's up to me to fix it all. Let's say they didn't meet one of their values. Okay, I think I'm gonna subvert expectations a little, and instead of having it be something like they violated the Starfleet Oath, I think it'd be more complex and more interesting if they betrayed their lead from the front value. So, captain of their ship, on which they served as midshipmen, asked them to help. Well, as a midshipman, they're still a command trainee. A mentor captain would at some point ask for advice or counsel, or just a "what would you do" in a teaching through questioning, not necessarily saying they would take their midshipman's advice, but just keeping them engaged in the decision-making process so they can grow up to be better commanders. Captain asked them to choose who is expendable among an away team is more expendable. It wouldn't be quite in these terms, mind you, but rather perhaps a situation in which two parties were both equally in peril and they only had time to save one. And we did the right thing, but it felt so very wrong. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Attributes. Your character learned a lot from the superior on how to command respect, increasing presence by 1. Boop. Okay, and now disciplines. Difficult decisions, part of being a leader, increase their command by 1. Legendary commander, I'll tell you what. Focuses. Add a focus reflecting the event and its aftermath. Example include inspiration, investigation, or persuasion. I'm going to say science. Specifically, risk assessment. So, I guess that would be security then, huh? Okay. And now our finishing touches. Receive a final value. So we need to fix it all. Something about how even enemies deserve respect. Because I feel like if I'm playing with this dude, I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, but when you've got a gun, every solution looks like a bullseye. Or every problem looks like a bullseye. And, he can utilize fantastic ship tactics to lead a crew into battle, no problem. But is that what we want in every story? Attributes. Increase 2 attributes by 1 each. Well, I think a good captain should have some of these qualities too. May not have any above 12. We don't. Discipline. Increase 2 disciplines by 1 each. Okay. And honestly, I know I said you don't need to generalize, you can specialize, but in this case, I do like having a little bit of everything for a well-rounded future starship commander, even though this guy's probably, a shift trainee. So, for any discipline, okay. Attributes should total 56, disciplines should total 16, and we should have 6 focuses. What? I have 2. But 19, 27, 36, 46, 56, 5, 8, 10, 15. What? 8, 14, 15. Where did I miss one? Command check. Added a value. We're fine for attributes. Disciplines, yeah. 3 focuses. Oh, right here. That didn't, yeah. Starship pilot. Negotiations. And we'll just say hand phasers. Not a bad skill to have. Okay. Single focus related to their business. Oh, yeah, okay. Shoot, in that case, you know, well, that negotiations might work actually pretty well for that. Let's say, honestly, let's just say computer operation as a general thing for that. Okay. Five, 8, 6. You know what? We'll just do medicine too. Okay, so that is our dude. I never thought I'd be making a Xindi primate Starfleet officer set in the Enterprise era, but here we are. So, we actually have some viewers. If anyone is on, want to hit me up in chat, because we're going to be making a starship next. Not Captain's Log, which does have its own starship section, but using Utopia Planitia, the really deluxe book. I've got links to both Captain's Log and Utopia Planitia if you want to pick them up. They're affiliate links. So filthy lucre for me. But the interesting thing about Star Trek Adventures, this is my favorite cover. There's 3 other covers. If you go to DriveThruRPG, you can see them. One is based on Discovery. It's got a pretty neat design. One's based on Next Generation, and one's based on Deep Space Nine and Voyager. They're all cool. You get to pick your own. And I hope you will, because it's a lot of solo fun. Now, check this out. Utopia Planitia. Oh, such a beautiful book. Look at all these sexy starships. Gaze upon them. So, I did not have anything to do with the making of this book, which makes it feel more like a treasure. So, if we've got any. Otherwise, I think I'm going to randomly. How many do we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 41, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. Actually, that was 30, wasn't it? So 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 51, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 55. So let's do 1 through 55. Boop, boop, ba-do-doot. 26. Bing, bang, boom. Okay. All starting over again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Constellation. I was like, Centaur, alright. Constellation. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we're going to make a Constellation class ship. And we will go, and we will see it. 146. Okay, so this is a constellation. It's neat. It's the Stargazer. If you remember from an early episode of Star Trek Next Generation where Picard gets attacked by Ferengi who hate him. So, ships kind of work like characters. They have systems instead of attributes, but they have the same departments that you have for your disciplines. So, we'll start with, this is a blank space frame. So we go comms 8, computer 7. Engines 9, sensors 9. What are the shields and weapons? Or structure and weapons? 8 structure, 7 weapons. Okay. So making a ship is a lot less complicated in this than it is in other games like, say, Traveler. So we've got Command Con. Irks made a no end. That this is not in alphabetical order, but okay. Command Con, Security Engineering. Science and medicine, yeah, that's right. Okay, so 1 con, 1 security, 1 engineering. Okay. Now, we've got these rules here. So you'll see, I'm kind of making it a little slower than it needs to be. So. So this is the unique thing to a Constellation class ship. It's just kind of easier for them to maintain a warp field. But every Constellation class ship, this is just a blank one right here. We haven't even done anything. But to customize it is pretty simple. You take this blank thing and we're going to go into the core book. Oh, I'm using the first edition. I haven't picked up the second edition yet. But that's okay because they're both compatible with this. Phaser banks, photon torpedoes, tractor beams. They've already got that. It comes with 2 talents: extensive shuttle bays and improved warp drive. So it's a little bit of a carrier, and the warp it's more versatile. It has. Oh, I neglected probably the most important thing: scale 4 right here. Okay. So scale is generally an idea of how big something is, but also not quite. It's also kind of like the power that it outputs. So how much it can support. Basically, something with a higher scale is able to support more talents, essentially. So let's... How many core rulebooks do I have here? I've got like all the books. Well, except second edition. clearly. But let me load up the core book, and we'll show you. So you take this, any blank ship, and then you specify, oh, we're actually kind of close to it. We loaded close to the star. So every ship has a mission profile. So this is what differentiates your class, or rather each ship in a class, from its sister ships. Very little you have to do to make a ship. So, do we want our ship to be strategic, diplomatic operations, pathfinder, like scouting, technical testbed, tactical operations, scientific and survey operations, crisis and emergency response, or a multi-role explorer? Welp, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, heck, we'll just roll a d8. 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tactical operations. Okay. So this is more of a warship-ish. And these are its departments. Okay, these are the actual stats for its departments. Command 2, Con 2. And you'll notice, when we did these, the ship class itself has these bonuses for it, because you add the bonuses from the ship class to the base departments from the mission profile to get the actual full-on stats. Okay, so 3 and 2, meaning actually 4 and 3. And then science and medicine, there's nothing right. Oh, 1 and 2, okay. Okay, so a scale 4, you can have as many talents, like the extensive shuttle bays and improved warp drive, as you have scale. So we have room for 2 more, but we have to choose from ablative armor, fast targeting systems, improved damage control, quantum torpedoes, and improved impulse drive. And I think I want fast targeting systems and improved impulse drive. I guess Z there. That's it. That's a ship. That's a ship right there. All you have to do is take down the ship class information and the mission profile and combine them. It's simple and fast. So again, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you pick this game up. Star Trek Adventures, if you haven't already. Captain's Log is really fun solo. It's kind of a distillation of the core rules, and I think a very fun experience overall. See you tomorrow. I don't have a game decided on yet, but I have a few that I'm thinking about.